Have you ever felt like moving to Germany was a big mistake? You have had probably questions like, why did I even move here? Is all of this really worth it? I'm done, I'm tired, I'm leaving. This is not gonna work out. I have been there myself. And in this video, I wanna share a very personal story and also remind you of how much the power of understanding our why and never quitting on our dreams this power can have in our lives. Hey, my name is Jen and I'm from Guatemala, and I create English content to empower internationals like you to settle into life in Germany more smoothly. So let me start with the story. It was March of 2014 and I had been living in Europe for around 4 years. At this time, I was living in Düsseldorf. Okay, I'm still living in Düsseldorf. I never moved out. But in 2014, I had lived already 2.5-ish years in Budapest, and I was close to my 2-year mark in Germany. I had moved to Germany because of 3 main reasons. Number 1 was a better quality of life and better career opportunities for myself. Number 2 was to find love and to live openly gay in a country that supported such love. And number 3 was to feel safe. I have talked openly about the first 2 reasons in this channel, but today I want to share my story about the third one. For the very first time after 4 years, I was going to fly back home to Guatemala City, my home city, which is in Guatemala. And if you don't know where Guatemala is, that is okay. It's a very small country under Mexico. We like to call ourselves Central America, but of course we're part of Latin America. So as I was packing my bags and I was ready to go visit my country for the very first time after 4 years, I was all kinds of nervous, excited. I didn't know what to expect. I left my country actually feeling very down and very disappointed. So it was definitely a lot of mixed feelings. I arrived and it took very little time. In just a few short days, I had felt a feeling that I hadn't had in Europe for a long time. And that was the feeling of being at home. Guatemala City can be a very chaotic city, but in this chaos, I found my place. I understood how things moved, how things worked. I understood everything when everyone spoke, the language, the slang, what this body position means. Like, I understood the whole ecosystem I was in. I ate so much delicious food I hadn't tried in years, food I even forgot even how it tasted. All of these brought so many memories of my childhood, of very happy times. I hanged out with my childhood friends. We reminisced about good old times. We listened to all kinds of music. I went to bars and restaurants, and the whole culture, which is a very, very colorful culture, just like brought so much energy and happiness into my heart. So after my holiday in Guatemala City was over and I came back to Germany, I was ready to leave Germany and go back to the city. The reason why is because I was at a very low point in Germany. You see, I had built a very beautiful network of friends here in Düsseldorf, and all of them were international and they had all left. Either they had gone back to their home country in Europe because a lot of them were European, or they had moved on to another country or city within Germany. I was stuck at my career, at my job. I was a customer service representative, and I couldn't find a way to move in my company, find a new job, or grow in any way. And most importantly, I had moved, or one of the reasons why I had moved to Germany was to find love and be openly queer and be married to a woman and be happy. But none of these things had become true. My dreams had never become a reality. So to be honest, I was tired and I thought, that's it. I tried, I gave it my all. This is not gonna work out for me. German is still a struggle to learn as well. I'm never gonna feel integrated in this country. And I was ready to call it quits. Do you know this meme? You know, like when you are in, this meme is like this man or person in the mine and like they have the diamonds are so close, they're digging this hole and they're so close to getting it. But like, you know, at some point they're like, oh, I give up, and they walk away. This was my situation. So when I came back to Germany, of course, life continued, but as life was continuing, I was in my journal every day writing and planning how I would move back to Guatemala. I had failed in Germany, but I'm not gonna fail in Guatemala, I thought. So I started to figure out how much money would I need to save up to buy a used car, how much money I would need for the first few months to survive, and how much money I would need maybe to start my own business or something in Guatemala because I didn't want to go back to employment there. As I was making all these plans, like I said, life continued here. And one of the things that I was involved here in Dusseldorf was in the Gaelic football team. And yes, this was also a group of a lot of international people, but I had joined this group recently, so I hadn't really made a lot of friends there. I showed up to training and there was a new girl in this training. She was very energetic, very positive. It was like a ray of sunshine that just like hits in your face. We introduced ourselves and her name is Yvonne. We didn't hit it off right away. We kind of became friends a little bit and we talked here and there. And a few months later, actually, our first kiss happened. And the rest is history. We married in 2017 and in 2020, we started Simple Germany, which is this channel that you're watching here. Meeting Yvonne in my life, it's like when Luke Skywalker met Yoda and went to train with him in this like mysterious land that they go to for who knows how long actually they stayed there in Star Wars. But anyways, meeting her was really a crossroads moment in my life. It was really the moment when either I was gonna leave Germany or I was gonna stay. And through her, actually, I was reminded of my why I moved to Germany. She inspired me in so many ways and reminded me that no dream is impossible. That if you put the work and if you really want something, it is possible to achieve. She also told me the story of Chinese bamboo, which she had heard before, which is that Chinese bamboo, when you first plant them, it takes around 4 to 5 years for all the roots to grow underground. So for 4 or 5 years, you don't see anything growing above ground. So if you don't know how Chinese bamboo grows, you might think, oh my God, I planted this and I'm never gonna see it. But suddenly, one day, the bamboo explodes and it just starts growing and growing and growing. But it takes 4 to 5 years to actually settle and create those roots. And I can relate to that story so well because like I mentioned, I had been here for 4 years already. With Yvonne's support, I was able to focus again on my dreams and what I wanted to achieve. Like I mentioned, I was at a dead-end job, so one of my priorities was how can I actually fix this? So I looked at the German market, what are they looking for? I saw developers was a massive thing the German market needed. I've always wanted to learn to code, so that was clearly a motivation for me to learn to code on my own time, and I managed to do the transition into a developer in 1.5 years. I spent 1.5 years learning and creating projects until I got my very first job. And I worked as a developer for 6 years, and these were the most amazing 6 years I had as an employed person in Germany because job opportunities would come to me. I worked at really cool companies, I had really cool colleagues, and I finished my developer career to start Simple Germany. So from 2020 till now, I have been happily, even more than a developer, happily creating content for you, for Simple Germany. So I had 3 main reasons to move to Germany. Number 1 was to find a better quality of life and career opportunities. Number 2 was to find love and be openly queer. And number 3 was to feel safe, to feel secure. And I have talked openly about the first 2 things in this channel, but I haven't really talked about the feeling safe. And I've kind of like brushed over it. Like, what do you mean, Jen, feeling safe? Don't you feel safe also in other parts of the world? Well, not for me. I was born in Guatemala City and I grew up there for many years. And during these years, I saw a lot of violence. I have been mugged at gunpoint. A building where I was working at got kidnapped for a few hours, but a crazy man. I saw how a man shot another man from a public bus and actually killed him. So I have had my share of violence. But the thing that broke the camel's back happened on April 30th of 2008. It was a sunny Wednesday morning and I had just finished my university classes and I jumped into my car and I was driving home. Suddenly I see my cell phone ringing. I had a BlackBerry at the time, if you remember those. And I see in the caller ID, it was my brother's secretary. I thought, that is weird. Usually I talk with my brother every Friday, so she usually calls me on Fridays and not on Wednesdays. So I picked up the phone, and even though I could hear in her voice that she had done an absolute massive effort to speak calmly and controlled, I definitely heard something was wrong. Jennifer? She asked. Yeah, I replied. Your brother has been shot. He's in the hospital. Can you come here immediately? I had so many questions running through my head. I didn't understand. I was in shock. But the one thing I could say is like, I'm on my way. I'll be there in 10 minutes. It took every ounce of my body to keep on driving without freaking out and to arrive to the hospital safely. When I entered the hospital doors, I see the secretary. She comes running towards me. She's crying, and she says, "The doctors did everything they could, but your brother lost too much blood, and he didn't make it." My brother had been murdered. And to make things even worse, my mother was visiting my aunt in the US. So I had to make that phone call to let my mother know and my aunt know that our beloved Hector had passed away. To say this was the hardest moment of my life is an understatement. We, of course, overcame this as a family. We buried my brother. And a few weeks later, my mother and I went to see the detective in charge of the case because we wanted to get answers. What had happened? Do you know anything? What's going on? As we reached the detective's desk, all I could see was chaos on his table, tons of files, really overwhelming of stuff on it. And we went there and was like, "Hey, we want information on this person. His birthday is this and this." And I kid you not, he spent like 10 minutes looking for my brother's file. He finally pulled the file under another piles of files. He actually read the report because he had no idea who we were talking about, to jot his memory of who was this person and what do I know already. He saw the report and said, "Oh yeah, I see here. We have some video footage that actually shows that this person was murdered in a robbery gone wrong." So we asked him, "Okay, do you have any leads? Like, what's the process here?" And he looked at us and said, like, "To be honest, I have all these other cases. They all have the same priority. So I don't know when I'm gonna get to this case, and it could be a few years until we have some answers." Today is 2024 when I'm recording this, and my brother's case is still unsolved. My brother is one of the thousands of people that get murdered in Guatemala City. My family is one of thousands that go through this every year. And it's just one other case on the pile of the cases in Guatemala. When I heard the detective say this to me, I thought, that's it. I'm leaving. I'm never coming back to this country. And that is when I made my decision to move to Europe. So fast forward to 2014, before I went back to Guatemala for the first time. You see, 4 years had passed. I had healed a little bit. I forgot a little bit, not forgot my brother's death, but I forgot that rage and that feeling that I had within me because I had healed a little bit. So I thought, I'm ready to go back to Guatemala. I'm gonna pack all the dreams that I had for Germany in my suitcase and just head back because clearly I'm not gonna make it here. But thank God that I met my Yoda. I met Yvonne, and she has been the catalyst of achieving my dream life. And I'm sharing all of this just to share with you that it is possible to go for the things that we want, that most of us have had strong past or strong experiences. It doesn't have to be as dramatic as what happened to me, but there is a reason why you moved to Germany, why you chose to come here in the first place. Remember that reason. Don't ever lose it out of sight. This reason, my why, after I met Yvonne, I discovered my why even more. And this has been my why of why I'm here, and it has pushed me and encouraged me to continue fighting for my dreams, and has been really the energy and the passion within me to be here. So if you are at that low point of your journey in Germany, think for yourself, why did I move here? What dreams do I have? And how can I achieve them? You got this. You have the power to shape the life how you want it. So my big question for you today is, what actions are you gonna start taking to achieve your goals and your dreams? Dreams do come true. I am living mine every day.